Hello, everyone. We are live, and I am Giovanny, and welcome to my YouTube channel, The Movie Canon. Today, I'm being joined by my little brother, Matthew.
Hello.
Please let me know if there's an issue with the mic. Like always, when we're live, we want to make sure that you guys can actually hear us. So let me know if there's a problem with it. We have here ERM19 saying hi. Hello. Okay, Matthew, you went in there and said yo. Okay. Then Banana Penguin 64 said hola. Hello, how you doing? Actually, he won the last the Funko Pop, the 3 Spider-Man pack.
Oh, nice.
So he's the winner of the last one, which has not been released yet, but he'll receive it fairly soon. And again, this is Giovanny, and we're doing a top 10 movie list of 2022. Hold on a second here. I'm trying to find the little image here. There you go. Top 10 movies of 2022. I put the Millennial versus Gen Z list because I'm doing a top 10 list and Matthew is doing a top 10 list. So that's what we're doing, the Millennial versus Gen Z list. So that's what we're doing there. And then also there'll be a movie trivia game after the top 10 list. Matthew will be playing.
Yes.
And I'll explain the rules in more detail in just a moment here. But the basic idea is that Matthew's going to try to get the best Funko, or at least he's going to try to activate or unlock, is the better word. He's going to try to unlock the best Funko Pop that we can be giving out. You see the little images there. So those are the possible Funkos that could be unlocked, and a subscriber will be able to actually try to enter and win later on. But we'll give you more details about that a little later. So going back here, again, this is our top 10 movie list. I'm going to do we're going to do a couple of honorable mentions, which will be technically be the number 12 and 11 spot, and then we'll do the top 10. And then after that, we'll do the little movie trivia game, and so on. So why don't we go ahead and begin here? And for the first honorable mention, again, this is the top 10 2022 film list. Let me try to find the image here. Okay, so the number 12 spot in my honorable mention, this is my pick, is the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent film that came out in April of earlier this year with Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal. And I was debating if it should be in my top 10 list. I did enjoy this movie quite a bit. It was funny. It was I like seeing Nicolas Cage in this kind of role. It's very like meta, whatever. Growing up, I was a big fan of Nicolas Cage movies like Face Off, Con Air, The Rock. You know, and coming in this movie where he's playing himself and he's kind of like making fun of himself. I thought that was a good idea, and the movie was a lot of fun. So it was in my honorable mentions here. So that's my number 12 spot. We're going to move on to the number 12 spot for Matthew. So this is Matthew's honorable mention. And this is Barbarian. So this is the horror film that came out, I think it was in September. Yeah. It just came out of nowhere. I just started hearing about it myself. Like, oh, there's this Barbarian movie coming out. That is supposed to be like really good. We watched it. I watched it with you, didn't I?
Yeah.
Okay, so we watched it. It was pretty good. I mean, I liked it. Matthew liked it enough that it's on his honorable mention. Maybe it's in my top 10. Maybe it's not.
Maybe.
I guess we'll find out soon enough. For the ones who might have already or just recently joined, again, this is my top 10 films of 2022. I'm doing my own list, and Matthew's doing his own list. So that's why we have the whole Millennial versus Gen Z list here. And then we'll be doing a little trivia game with Matthew later on here. So we were on the honorable mentions list here. So let's move on to, this would have been like the 11th spot. So this is my list here. So this is still an honorable mention, but it's the number 11 spot for me. So this is a Scream 5, or I think officially it's just known as Scream.
Yes.
So I'm a big Scream fan. Also, just kind of like the Nicolas Cage movies. of the past. Scream movies are films that I grew up with. The original Scream came out in '96. Scream 2 a year later, '97, and so on. So of course I was gonna watch this new Scream movie. Um, I want to say most of them are good. The weakest one for me will be the third one. The fourth one was all right, and then this new one right here was actually good. Now I enjoyed it more the second time because the first time I was just trying to find who the killer is, like most people are, and there were some things that I didn't like about it, but overall it was the same thing that we usually get. Fun horror kills, ghost face. We're trying to find out who the killer is until the very end, and sometimes we get it right, sometimes we don't. So that aspect was pretty fun. So I didn't make it to my top 10 list, but it's an honorable mention. It just barely not made it into my top 10 list. So now we're going to move on to Matthew's honorable mention. This will be technically his 11th spot. And this is Glass Onion, A Knives Out Story. Matthew, what do you want to say about your pick here?
Well, I have not seen the first Knives Out, so I wasn't sure what to expect. But gladly this film was like, it stands on its own in a way, and I really enjoyed the twist they pulled at the end. It wasn't at all what I thought they were gonna do with that. It like took a predictable murder mystery story and made it like literally just did a full 180 on it.
And then actually, I should have mentioned this earlier. We are doing, a list of movies that came out in 2022. So there might be some spoilers in there, just so you know. It's kind of hard not to get into some details, especially when we're talking about our best movies of the year. So just so you know, there may be some spoilers in there. Matthew, anything else you want to add about Glass Onion?
I mean, nothing else really stood out to me. It was just overall a good movie. Yeah.
Okay. So now we're going to actually move on to the main top 10 list. So my number 10th spot is Top Gun Maverick, starring Tom Cruise. This is a sequel that I don't want to say long overdue, but it the first one came out like in '86, so it's been a while since they decided to make a sequel. When they first announced this movie, I wasn't necessarily excited about it. The first one, I always thought it was okay. I never got the hype about it. I didn't think it was that great. So when we have this second film that was released and then actually saw it, there's a lot of action in it, and the characters were very likable. Tom Cruise coming back in this movie made sense. The other characters that are in it make sense. It's one of those feel-good action popcorn blockbuster movies that's I think a lot of people ended up really liking, because at the box office it made like over $1.5 billion, right? So that's my number 10 spot. Matthew, do you have any thoughts on this at all?
I guess you'll find out later.
Oh, okay. All right. So then let's move on to Matthew's number 10th spot. And this is Scream 5. So go ahead, Matthew.
I'm also a fan of the Scream franchise. Scream was probably the first real horror movie I saw, and it like introduced me into all these slasher films that I prefer over, let's say, like a paranormal type of horror movie. But I came into Scream 5 not really expecting much, but I did really like the cast that they had at the time with Jenna Ortega and Jack Quaid, which are some of my favorite actors in recent times. And I really enjoyed how they made Ghostface in this movie seem more like, kind of made him seem cool in a way with these shots, especially in the hospital with him with, I think he had 2 knives at one point.
Okay, that's right.
And this movie was extremely meta for like the horror franchise, especially with like the Stab movie reference things. And I just thought it was like a funny, maybe not too scary, but it was a good time in the cinema.
In the cinema, okay. All right. I had issues with this movie when it came to who the killer was.
That's true.
Yeah, because some things didn't make any sense. Again, this is a little bit of a spoiler, but this movie's been out for almost a year. It came out in January of 2022, so we're about to go into January 2023. So the issue that I had is that when we find out who the killer is, especially when it came to one of the legacy characters, and then you see who it actually was, the one who did it based on reductive deductive reasoning, the process of elimination. If this person was on scene and then Ghostface is in the same scene, then the other person is the killer, and that person could not have been able to have done what that person or that killer did.
That is definitely true.
So so it's like, okay, that I didn't buy that. It's like, if you're going to have a Ghostface killer, specifically in Scream, and we're trying to find out who it is, we're trying to find out who it is based on the capabilities of the Ghostface killer, right? Yeah. So could this person actually do this physically, stature, actually able to pull it off physically, and based on who Ghostface is going after. So that was the issue that I had with this particular movie.
That is very true.
But overall, I mean, I liked it. Like I said, I liked it more the second time. But it's not bad. And it was in my honorable mention. So let's see here. So we did the number 10th spot here. And let's see if we can go to the next one here. The number 9th spot for me, which was actually kind of surprising that I would have so many of these type of films in my top 10 list. And it's Prey. So Prey, it wasn't even released theatrically, at least not in a wide release. I think it might have been released limited, like for some people who want to watch it in theaters. It was available, but mainly this was a Hulu stream. And this is a Predator movie, Prey. I had kind of low standards when I first heard about this movie because it was going to be set like in the, I don't remember the exact century, but like it's maybe 17th or 18th century, I believe, one of those, or maybe even earlier. And it's like, how is this predator going to, how is it going to be a challenge for this predator when he goes to this era of Earth? And they found a way to make it work. And I think that's actually why I ended up really liking it as much as I did, because it's like, okay, well, a lot of stuff that happens with the predator and this character, the one that you see on screen here, it just took a lot of her wit and intelligence to basically even go toe to toe with the predator. So there's a lot of interesting and smart things that happened in this movie, and it was very entertaining. And that's my number 9 spot. So let's go to Matthew's number 9 spot, which is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Matthew.
Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is definitely a movie that I watched this year. I think this movie handled the whole passing of the torch to Shuri. I forgot the actress's name, but they handled that very well, especially when it comes to T'Challa's death. And I honestly didn't expect much from this movie, especially with the whole, there wasn't a Black Panther in a Black Panther movie. But I did think they handled the entire thing of her becoming Black Panther when she did become Black Panther, of course, towards the end after her mother died. And I did like the idea of revenge or vengeance, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And her kind of redeeming herself by not killing, what's his face, Namor at the end.
Okay.
Namor.
So again, spoilers, everyone. Spoilers. Anything else?
Yeah, I thought it was... I think it was the best MCU movie that came out this year. Not that there was much competition, per se, but it was, the best MCU film and my number 9 spot.
So you didn't like it as much as Doctor Strange?
Yes, Doctor Strange is my number 1.
Oh, yeah. All right, so let's move on to the next one here. So we're at the number 9 spot, right?
Yes.
So the number 8th spot for me is another movie that, again, I wouldn't expect it to actually be on my list because I'm a theatrical guy, right? when I want to watch a movie for the first time, I want it to be in theaters. So this movie actually was not released wide in theaters, and it actually made it onto my top 10 list. And it is Hellraiser, the remake, or the remake, the reboot. Um, didn't have high expectations for this movie at all. I'm not even a huge fan of the original Hellraiser. So when I heard that they were going to make this, I was like, okay, well, it's coming out in October, so I'll watch it. It's Halloweeny or whatever. It's horror. And I watched it, and it was pretty surprised, and I really enjoyed it quite a bit. It's R-rated, as gory as you would like it to be, even if it was if it wasn't a theatrical release, and it was very interesting, and acting was good. Just the whole thing was surprisingly good, and that's on Hulu. Did you ever get a chance to even watch this movie, Matthew?
No.
Okay.
I've only seen one recently.
Yeah, and I mean, we can't watch every single movie that comes out in a year, so it's like we're gonna make our list. That we did watch a lot of movies in 2022, but we're not gonna watch every single thing. But I know I watched more movies than you did, Matthew, only because.
Yeah, I've seen 29 movies that came out this year.
Oh damn, you have an exact number. All right, so let's see here. So that was my number. Was it number 8? Number 8 spot. So we're gonna go to Matthew's list, and Matthew's number 8 spot is, where is it? There you go. It's Avatar: The Way of Water. Matthew.
Coming into this, I expected the worst. I almost didn't want to even go to watch it because I'm not remotely a fan of the first one.
Oh damn.
I thought the first one was very basic in story. I thought cinematics carried the movie, I guess you could say. But I did really enjoy the second one a lot more than the first one. I thought visually it was a big step up somehow. It was still a big step up even from the first Avatar. I thought the story was, even though it's still simple, it's like it's kind of a little more complicated than the first one. And this movie was over 3 hours, but it did not feel that long.
It's 3 hours and 12 minutes.
Yeah, it did not feel that long at all. I thought it was a good action story, had good action. It dragged a little bit towards the end with a little of a drowning scene.
In the third act.
Yeah.
The third act. All right, so that was what, your number 8th, right?
Yes.
Number 8th spot. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the number 7th spot. Now, this is my list here. So this movie, again, it wasn't released in theaters. Although it would have been released in theaters, though. It's just that the studio decided to just drop it into theaters. I have no idea why. Maybe they're still like trying to figure out the whole pandemic era stuff. But normally it would have been in theaters. And this is actually Pixar's Turning Red, which I really, really liked. It feels like it's kind of one of those going back to form Pixar movies. And just overall the story with the little girl and then her family, and then things that happen, and just talking about like the history or the traditions that the family does, and it's just an overall fun and entertaining Pixar movie that has a lot of elements in there that I think were really, really great. And what is that, like a spam thing?
Yeah.
All right. So I really enjoyed this, surprisingly. So we have that. And then we're going to go to Matthew's list in just a bit here. Did you actually watch Turning Red, Matthew?
I did not.
Were you not interested in watching it?
I personally don't really watch movies that go to streaming. I'm more of a cinema person.
Okay. So we're going to go to Matthew's number 7 spot. And this is a Top Gun Maverick. Matthew?
Well, again, coming to this movie, I didn't really expect anything. I didn't see the first one. I watched a summary video on YouTube about the first one. But I definitely did enjoy this movie. I can't really say it did anything special. It was just like an overall good story. Kind of was story on Tom Cruise's character learning that maybe he doesn't have to be the one that does everything, that always has to be in control, that he can let someone else do something every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Especially him like making up with Miles Teller's character, which I think his name was I don't remember. It started with an R, I think.
Isn't it Rooster?
Rooster, yeah.
Is it?
I almost said
I'm
raccoon.
not even sure.
I was gonna say raccoon, but I think it is Rooster. But yeah, I thought it was good overall. Nothing really especially good about it. I think it was just like a solid movie.
All right. So that's it. That's it for the few that we've done. So we were at number 7, right?
Yes.
All right. So then let's move on to the number 6 spot. So this one's mine here. This is my list. So the number 6 spot for me is The Whale, starring Brendan Fraser. Now this movie is mainly carried by the performance. Brendan Fraser's character, which I believe is Charlie. The story in itself is pretty basic, but I did enjoy it considering that I think it comes from a stage play and it's kind of structured the same way, and it was still kind of interesting throughout the whole period of the movie. I think it was like almost 2 hours. The main performance is Brendan Fraser. The supporting cast, and I don't remember the actress's name, but she's also in The Menu. The girl that plays the nurse, and is the would have been the sister-in-law. So her performance was good in that too. There's some information that we learned throughout the movie. And everything is thrown at you at the beginning, like most movies, but there's some information there that we end up picking up, and it kind of like questions your likeness of the character, which is Brendan Fraser here. It's a Darren Aronofsky movie, and I'm not a huge fan of his movies. Like I've seen several of his movies, like a Black Swan and Mother with Jennifer Lawrence. And Mother was kind of I don't know how to describe my feelings for that movie. Like I liked parts of that, but then there's parts of it that I really, really hate. So just on the fact that Darren Aronofsky was going to direct this movie wasn't really the pull for me. Brandon Fraser was the pull because I've seen and heard and read that this is a great performance by Brendan Fraser, and I concur. I agree with that, and I don't see who would be able to beat him when it comes to the Oscar race. I will be shocked if he doesn't win. I'll be even more shocked if he doesn't even get nominated. But this was a great movie, and it was at my number 6 spot. So now we're going to get into Matthew's spot. And let's see here. Or Matthew's number 6 spot, I should say. I'm actually surprised about this movie being on your list, Matthew, especially since you were refusing.
I know, I was
for me taking you watching it. So this is Elvis. So Matthew finally watched Elvis, and it made it on his top 10 lists. Matthew?
I watched this movie, I think, 4 days ago. I was refusing to watch this movie because it is a bit long. Well, it's 2 hours and 40 minutes. It's like most movies nowadays, but I did not want to watch this movie. I'm not really a fan of the biographical. I don't know if that's biographical type of movies, like
like a biopics.
Yeah,
like biographical movies.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did kind of enjoy Bohemian Rhapsody to an extent, but I did not think I was gonna like this movie. But I think what's his face?
Austin Butler?
No. The guy that plays Woody. I forgot his name.
The guy that plays who?
The Woody the toy.
Tom Hanks.
Yes, Tom Hanks. Sorry.
Woody. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks. I thought his performance was extremely good in this movie as kind of not maniacal, but very self-centered man.
What about Austin Butler?
Austin Butler was also
as Elvis.
Performed extremely well in this movie. I don't know much about Elvis, but I thought his performance as Elvis was extremely well, and his singing of his songs. But overall, I did enjoy Elvis a lot more than I thought I would. So yeah.
Yeah, so Elvis would have been on my number 13th spot. So it didn't make it into the honorable mentions, but just by barely, and obviously didn't make it to my top 10 list. But I did enjoy that movie, too, this movie too, actually, and it was pretty long, 2 hours and 40 minutes, and it's Baz Luhrmann who directed the Great Gatsby movie, and Romeo and Juliet, and Moulin Rouge, I believe. So he has this different kind of style when it comes to movies and stuff like that. He definitely uses it in this movie. So I did enjoy it. Not enough to make it into my top 10 or honorable mentions, but surprisingly, it made it into yours, Matthew. So that was your number 6 spot.
It sure was.
So, okay, so now we're going to the number 5th spot, right? Number 5th
Yes.
spot. And the number 5th spot, this one is on my list. This is the movie called 13 Lives. Now, this movie also was not released theatrically wide, which again, I'm like really surprised and shocked about that myself.
Wow.
This movie, it was streaming on Amazon. It's directed by Ron Howard, and it stars Colin Farrell. I can't remember the guy's name now. The guy from Lord of the Rings. Oh, Viggo Mortensen. Viggo Mortensen. There you go. And this is basically on a true story. And so it's the one where the kids get stuck or trapped in the cave, and they go out there and trying to rescue them. And it was kind of hard to try to get them out because of where the kids were located in the cave, and it was during monsoon season, so there was a bunch of flooding. It was just a very dangerous situation, and they could have easily just died, or the rescuers could have just not even attempted it because it was a very risky thing to do, and they find a way to get it done somehow. But again, this is loosely based on a true story, but the whole thing about how it happened, the people that are trying to rescue the kids and all that stuff, all of that is very entertaining, and I think it's kind of long too. I think it's like 2.5 hours. And it's on Amazon, so it was entertaining, like from the beginning to end, which is like kind of rare sometimes in things and entertainment. So this one was high on my list, so that was my number 5. Have you even heard of this movie before?
Nope.
13 Lives.
Thought it was gonna be like some cat movie or something.
Some cat movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this one's on Amazon, so it's really really good. So now we're gonna go into Matthew's number 5th spot, which is Bullet Train. Matthew?
Starring Bad Bunny.
Yeah, Bad
Bullet
Bunny's-
Train is a movie that came out this year. I remember kind of having a distaste for this movie because I had seen the trailer maybe a million times before it actually came out.
Oh yeah, they kept showing that trailer.
So I kind of had to watch it at that point because, this movie, I thought it would be one that would be given the plot away in the trailer, kind of like, but I feel like they did a good job to like kind of keep it away from expectations because it kind of went in a direction that I wasn't really expecting it to go in. I thought this movie is carried by its characters and its premise. I'm a sucker for train movies. Well, movies that
Train
are
movies?
on a train.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
I thought Brad Pitt was really good in this movie. Joey King, which is an actress I'm not really particularly tasteful for,
No, what the hell?
also performed very well. But I do think Aaron Taylor Johnson had the best performance in this movie. I thought he was definitely the star of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I thought it was a good action story. Definitely something you can watch with your family, maybe, or with your dad.
That you could or couldn't?
That you could, maybe.
I guess. I mean, it's R-rated, but
Oh,
I guess
it's
depends.
R-rated. Oh my god.
Yeah. I guess it just depends on how you see it. Yeah, Bullet Train was obviously not in my top 10 or honorable mentions, but it was it would have been like my number 14th spot. So it would have been like in my top 15 spot. I did like that movie. It was fun. It reminded me of Kill Bill and some other movies that I can't think of right now, but it was a lot of fun, but obviously not fun enough to be on this list. So that was your number 5th spot, right?
Sure was.
All right, so we're gonna move on to number 4. So this one's my number 4 spot, and this is Glass Onion. a Knives Out story, and
Wow.
this one was on Matthew's honorable mentions. And this movie, I did like actually the first one, the Knives Out movie that came out in 2019, I believe.
Yeah.
That film was a lot of fun as well. The script was perfect, and the acting was good. The ensemble cast was good, so that was a lot of fun with the mystery, and we get the introduction of this character, Daniel Craig's character in Knives Out. So I was definitely excited to see the sequel. So we have this one out, Glass Onion. I watched it in theaters about a month ago when it was going to be in theaters for about a week,
Me
and
too.
now it's on Netflix. And I liked it when I first saw it, but then I rewatched it, so I liked it even more because there's some little clues in there that you don't pick up until you know what the finale is. So when I was rewatching it at the beginning, I started picking up a little bit of clues like, oh, I didn't even notice that because I wouldn't have known that because I didn't know the end yet. So that's I guess like a testament when it comes to a good mystery film is when you go back and rewatch it and then you pick up on little things that you didn't even realize were there right in front of you. And I thought that was kind of fun. So it kind of bumped up my um, I guess my top 10 list of this movie here. And you know, there's issues with Ryan Johnson with the whole Star Wars thing, but when it comes to these movies here, he definitely knows what he's doing. And I didn't even hate The Last Jedi, but
Or did you
people who hate The Last Jedi,
like this
don't worry
movie?
about that. Definitely watch these Knives Out movies because they are really, really great. So that was Matthew's honorable mention, but it was my number 4 spot. Let's see here. So now we're gonna go into Matthew's number 4th spot here. So let's see what we have. And I know I've seen your list, but I don't remember. Oh yeah, that's right. This is Matthew's number 4th spot, which is The Fablemans, Steven Spielberg. Go, Matthew.
This is also a movie that came out this year. I did not know this movie existed till the day before I saw it when Gio said we're gonna go watch The Fablemans,
Okay.
and I went with it only knowing that it was a Steven Spielberg movie that had Paul Dano, aka the Riddler, in it,
Mm-hmm.
but that was enough for me honestly because Paul Dano's performance in The Batman was stellar, and Steven Spielberg is probably the greatest movie director of all time, possibly.
Yep. Yep.
But
I
I
would agree.
would you? I really enjoyed this film. It's kind of a story of a boy who falls in love with movies, and I wouldn't say I'm like the biggest fan of movies, but obviously to an extent I am.
Mm.
So kind of
Not to this level.
yeah, not to the Fablemans level.
Not to the character. What's his name? Sammy or Sammy?
Yeah,
And
Sammy Fableman.
in this movie, yeah.
I thought Michelle Williams' performance as the mother was extremely good, kind of since she was a little crazy, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was The Fablemans.
All right, so let's move on to my number 4th spot. And wait,
You're 3.
oh wait, number 3. Right, number 4th spot was Glass Onion. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to my number 3rd spot, and nothing much is gonna change because it's the Fablemans. So the Fablemans is my number 3 spot. Matthew's number 4. This is a Steven Spielberg movie. It's kind of like a semi autobiographical story of Steven Spielberg, but he changed the name, and I'm sure he changed some other things. But there's a lot of things in this movie that actually did happen in his life. If you're a big movie fan, if you're an aspiring filmmaker, or if you ever were, or a screenwriter or director or whatever, I think you'll find much value in this movie. And it's about 2.5 hours long, and there are parts that are drag a little bit, but overall, I really enjoyed this movie here. The cast of characters were interesting, and just the whole process of him, which is the main character, which is the guy that you see in the picture here, Sammy. Just finding his love of film and applying it to everything that he does, and learning and picking things up, and not necessarily um, having to been told what to do, but just learning to do these things when it comes to film, especially in the older days when he actually used real, like actual real, like REEL film. It's a lot easier to do that now, with the YouTube and digital cameras and all that stuff. So I was found it very interesting, very aspiring type of film. As myself, as was an aspiring filmmaker for a long time, and even still
Yes.
do little projects once in a while when I get the itch to do some creative project or whatever. This definitely pushed me to want to do another one, and it was a great film overall. I think it'll be in the Oscars race. I don't know to what level, but I'm pretty sure it'll be in there somehow.
With Babylon.
Uh, let's not talk about Babylon, even though I haven't seen it, but it
Yeah.
just doesn't look that good to me. But yeah, this was my number 3 spots. So that was The Fablemans. So we're getting to the last 2. So wait, no, you still need
Yeah,
to
so
do
to
your
do my
number
third.
3. Okay, so let's get to Matthew's number 3. Where is it? Oh, here it is. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Otherwise known as Nick Cage movie.
Oh, that's why you brought this. Okay, so that's Matthew's number 3 spot. So let's see here. Go ahead, Matthew.
I have the movie box right here. Was one of my favorite movies that came out this year. Top 3, I think. Yeah. Okay. Um, this was a movie that I've been hyped for I think over a year at this point. But when it came out, around a year that I've heard stuff about this movie coming out, and Pedro Pascal is probably one of my favorite actors of all time.
Came with a shirt.
Yeah, came with the shirt.
Yeah.
But I thought this movie was very funny. I'm not really a fan of comedies, I guess, but I thought this movie did a good job of balancing comedy and action, and I thought the dynamic between Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal was basically perfect. And the kind of like not falling out, but like where they both tried to kill each other because they thought they were gonna try to kill each other opposite, I guess.
Okay.
I thought that part was extremely well done. So yeah, there's The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
All right, so that was your number 3 spot. It was in my honorable mention. Yeah, I did like this movie, and I bought it. Well, not like that, but I bought a digital version of it. Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. Okay, now we're gonna get to the last 2, right?
Yes.
So my number 2 spot is Avatar: The Way of Water. I know Matthew was talking about this movie. I didn't want to like give my own input in there because I knew it was pretty high on my list, so I just saved it. I wasn't a huge fan of the first Avatar movie. Like, I appreciated the technical aspects of it, the CGI, the 3D, the technology that James Cameron was working on for many, many years. I appreciated that. The story wise was just basic, like I mentioned before, not in this stream, but in the past. I mentioned that Avatar is dances with wolves, with aliens. And I mean, it just is. I mean, if you just watch the movie and look at the story, that's what it is. I mean, you just can't deny it. It's exactly what that is. So that the story wise, I wasn't that engaged in, but you know, the CGI and other stuff was pretty cool. But I mean, that's why it wasn't really on my top of that year, which was 2009, because it took this long for this movie to come out. And now this movie came out, the technology, the CGI, the 3D, everything was good, or great, I should say, just like the original was. It's beautiful to look at. You have to watch this movie in IMAX 3D. If you can't, Dolby will be fine, but you definitely have to watch it in 3D though, because you're just not gonna get the same experience. It'll still be a good movie for you, but you will not get the same experience. And I know a lot of you guys already seen this. So the story in this movie is better, much better than the first Avatar movie,
Yes.
because it's not like a straight up numbers by numbers of Dances with Wolves, but it has its own story, and they go to a different part of Pandora, and there's just a bunch of cool stuff in this movie. It is definitely too long, and the third act was especially long, but overall, it's a good, solid movie, or good, great movie, I should say. Um, so that's why it's at my number two spot. Like I couldn't put it at number one, but it was pretty high there. So that was my number two spot, and no, I keep doing that. Um, so you saw, well, obviously you saw Avatar. 'Cause that was what was yours? Your
I
number
think it
eight?
was seventh or eighth.
Yeah,
Maybe?
there was like number eight or something.
It
Like that.
was eighth. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was Matthew's number eight. That was my number two. Um, all right, so let's move on to. We're getting to your number two, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is Matthew's number two, and this is Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, which you just saw yesterday.
Yeah, last
So-
night, like 12 hours ago.
So you just like barely went in there.
It
Matthew?
sure did. I this might be a little biased, but Puss in Boots is my favorite DreamWorks character. Has been since his first appearance in Shrek 2. But honestly, this movie is a huge step up from the first one, which I thought was
Oh,
a
yeah.
very average movie. At that,
Mhm.
carried by maybe Antonio Banderas, who once again had an amazing performance in this movie.
His voice performance.
His voice performance. Speaking of
Yeah.
voice performances, this movie has a very stacked cast of people who literally every character that talks, you're like, I recognize that voice. Who is that? And I think that's cool. Has some surprises like Florence Pugh as Goldilocks.
Oh, yeah.
The art style in this movie I thought was amazing. It was perfect for this type of movie.
Yeah,
They
they
went the Spider-Verse route.
Yeah, they didn't like that for
The fight scenes.
just the action scenes, right? Because
Yeah.
everything else is like regular,
Yeah.
DreamWorks animation. But when it comes to the actions part, it's like the Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse type of style.
Yeah, like once you see the frame rate start to slow down, you know it's about to go down.
Which is kind of like contradictory. Contradicts what we're trying to do there. But yeah, I like this movie. Obviously, didn't make it to any of my lists, but it was good. It's definitely much better than the first one.
Yes.
Because I just recently saw the first one, and I was like, because I remember I saw it when it first came out in 2011, and I thought it was just whatever about it.
Same.
And then I rewatched it like last week or 2 weeks ago, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. This movie's just whatever. So, but this one's much better. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was great. Not really much to complain about.
all right, so let's move on to the number. What is it?
One
Oh yeah, number one. The number one spot.
is
And
movie
this is
Nope.
mine, and of course this is the Batman. Gio's pick, the Batman, starring Robert Pattinson, Paul Dano. Is it Paul Dano or Paul Dano? I've heard it both ways.
I've heard it both.
What is the Kravitz?
Zoe Kravitz.
Is it Zoe?
Yeah, Zoe Kravitz.
Zoe Kravitz, Catwoman. This is a great movie. I'm a huge Batman fan. I think I'm gonna say Batman is my favorite character overall, just in everything, in any kind of media, comic book, whatever. Batman, and so when they cast Robert Pattinson, he wouldn't have been my first choice, but I wasn't completely against it because I've heard that he's done great performances before, and I have seen a couple of performances after Twilight. Because if you think of Twilight, then obviously you're not going to want to see Robert Pattinson as Batman. But you obviously get to think about other stuff that he's done, and then you also have to kind of trust the director, Matt Reeves, because he's done some good stuff as well himself. So when this movie first came out or was about to come out, I did have high hopes for it, and I did really like the Batman. It was very beautiful looking, kind of like Avatar. It's very grounded, like the Dark Knight trilogy, but it's still a little different than the Dark Knight trilogy, the Christopher Nolan films. Just like Avatar, this movie was a little too long too. It didn't need to be that long, but it was very entertaining. There's a lot of great scenes in it, a lot of things that you miss, like little clues in the background because we have the Riddler going on in this movie, and Paul Dano was great in it. Colin Farrell was really great in it.
Oh,
You
yeah.
didn't recognize him as the Penguin, and then Zoe Kravitz was a good Catwoman, and a lot of action scenes. The Batmobile is fucking awesome. There's just a lot of good things in this movie. The only thing that I didn't like was the whole Joker thing. Like,
Oh.
that seemed very forced. Like, I did like the actor who they picked to play the Joker, and I do want to see him as the Joker moving forward, but that scene seemed very forced. Like, they just wanted to include the Joker somehow, and it just didn't really fit. So that was like the only couple things that I didn't care for this movie. But overall, it remained at my number one spot, and it came out in March of 2022. So that was my number one spot. So we're about to get into Matthew's number one spot, and I wonder what it is. Let's
It's the
see.
movie Nope.
It's also the Batman. So Matthew,
The Batman is a character that he's not my favorite comic book character. He's probably my fourth favorite. He's just not my top three. But yeah, this was definitely the best movie of the year. It's personally my favorite Batman movie. I've only seen Batman Begins and the Tim Burton trilogy, so I don't have The Dark Knight to put it up against.
wait, you
but-
haven't seen The Dark Knight?
No.
What the hell? How
Yeah.
does?
I
did
mean,
not
I've seen
know-
the beginning. And you.
I did not even know that.
So Robert Pattinson is Batman in this movie. I remember 2 or 3 years ago when he was announced, I was extremely against it
Oh wow!
because
You're
I'm
one of them?
a avid Twilight hater myself.
Is it because you're a teenager,
Yes.
a teenage boy?
But the second I saw Robert Pattinson in the Batman suit, I was completely on board. I thought he looked perfect in the Batman as the Batman. And coming into this movie beforehand, I was extremely hyped. The trailers did a decent job of not giving basically anything away, and it did like even better job of making Batman look extremely scary in a way.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
Let me think. I thought the movie, it was 3 hours. It did sometimes feel a little long, but watching it the second time, it definitely didn't feel as long, and I liked it a lot more after watching it twice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Zoe Kravitz is probably the best Catwoman. Not that there's much competition in that aspect,
Wow.
but she did a very good job, and so did Paul Dano. He played the Riddler kind of like the Joker in a way, in a very subtle kind of crazy way.
Okay.
But speaking of the Joker, that was the one thing I hated about this movie. I am tired of the Joker in Batman
What?
movies, especially recently with Joaquin Phoenix, who did a good job, but then
The
there
Joker's
was
like
the Suicide
the
Squad.
necessity when you have Batman.
Yeah, but
It's like it's a combo. Batman and Joker have to be
together.
in there somehow. Well, not necessarily in the same movie all the time, but in a trilogy or whatever the case series,
Yeah.
the Joker has to be in there. at
I
one point.
definitely would have saved his teasing for the second movie and him being a main villain of the third one, but that's really the only thing I didn't like about this movie.
I keep doing that. I keep going back to that one camera, which is not even operational right now. All right, so that was our top 10 list. So that's all of it right now. So let's do a little recap. All right, so let's begin with the honorable mentions. So this one was my number 12 spot, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, which was a fun little Nicolas Cage, Pedro Pascal movie. Matthew's number 12 spot, which is an honorable mention, was Barbarian, the horror movie that has Bill Skarsgård. And unfortunately, I don't know the actress's name, which you see on the screen here. But she was good in that. And this is Matthew's honorable mention. My 11th spot was Scream, or Scream 5. and with Jenny Ortega and Jack Quaid. And Matthews was Glass Onion, A Knives Out Story. So that was his second honorable mention. My number 10th spot was Top Gun Maverick. Matthew's number 10th spot was Scream, or Scream 5. My number 9th spot was Prey. Matthew's number 9th spot was Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. My number 8th spot was Hellraiser, which is on Hulu. Matthew's 8th spot was Avatar, The Way of Water. Number 7th spot, surprisingly, even for me, was Turning Red, Pixar. Matthew's number 7th spot was Top Gun Maverick. Number 6 spot for me is The Whale with Brendan Fraser, directed by Darren Aronofsky. Matthew's number 6 spot was Elvis with Austin Butler and Tom Hanks. My number 5th spot was 13 Lives, which is on Amazon Prime. Matthew's number 5 is Bullet Train, starring Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt.
And Bad Bunny.
My number 4th spot was Knives Out. Glass Onion.
A Knives
Out Story. Matthew's number 4th spot was The Fablemans. My number 3rd spot is The Fablemans, Steven Spielberg directed film. Matthew's number 3rd spot was The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I think I kind of secured the name of this movie because I used to just call it the Nick Cage movie. My number 2 spot was Avatar, The Way of Water. Or have some people say Avatar, The Shape of Water.
What?
Matthew's number 2 spot is Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, Antonio Banderas, Salma Hayek, and John Mulaney. And I still need to figure out who voiced the cricket, because I want that cricket.
Jimmy Cricket?
Okay, so then the number 1 spot for me, this is my list, is The Batman. Great film. It's dark. It's beautiful. It was great. And Matthew's number 1 spot is also The Batman. Robert Pattinson, Matt Reeves directed. So that was our top 10 list for 2022. There are some of the movies that I didn't get a chance to see. I will still watch them. There's the Oscar nominations coming out towards the end of January. I will be doing a live reaction stream of the Oscar nominations. So we'll be watching more movies that are in 2022. But I just wanted to do a list. December 31st. Why not do a list? We have Horror Collector Fiend on the chat, or in the chat. It says, "Hi, Movie Canon." Hello, Horror Collector Fiend. Welcome back and in our stream here again. Okay, so let me see if there's anything else. No, I don't want this to go on here. I keep doing that because when I go back to the main page, it goes to that second camera, which is not activated yet because that's going to be part of the movie trivia game that we're going to do in just a bit here. Is there anything else you wanted to add, Matthew? Oh, we have Horror Collector Fiend. Where's Terrifier 2 on this list? Unfortunately, it didn't make it on the list. It's a good horror movie. It's a good Halloween movie, and I bought it just last week, I think. So I definitely bought that movie, but it just didn't make it into my list.
To my top 20.
And then we have some other spam here. It says free virtual girls. Okay, I need to be able to block that somehow. But all right. So any final thoughts, Matthew, on the top 10 or any movies overall in 2022?
Well, I would like to mention my 3 least favorite movies of the year.
3 least favorite. Okay.
We have Nope, Moonfall, and Multiverse of Madness, which is definitely a movie that came out.
And then you hated Multiverse of Madness.
Yes, I
for some
despise that
reason.
movie.
I don't know why you hate it as much as you did. Moonfall, I get you not liking Moonfall. Nope, I think I gave it a C+. It had its good things in there, but it was a little too much for me. It was I didn't care for the ending. So Nope did not make it to my list, but I didn't hate it like that. Let me see. We're talking about some worse movies. Moonfall is definitely in there. I don't think it was. I don't think 2022 as bad as 2021 because in 2021 I had two movies that I graded F. I don't think graded a single movie an F, and I watched Morbius.
Oh yeah, I've not seen Morbius.
I did watch Morbius, and it still didn't get an F from me. What are some movies that are like bad? I can't think of others, but yeah. So that was a top 10 list, and let's see. So I think I think we're just gonna take a quick little break because we're gonna set up the game. So Matthew's going to do a movie trivia game. Now this one's gonna be a little different than the one that we did last time because we actually had subscribers who had entered. None of these Funkos that you see on the screen have actually been unlocked yet. So I'll give you the details in just a bit here, but it is possible that Matthew could unlock one of these Funko giveaways, and then I'll open a giveaway to subscribers, and then I'll give you guys details in a bit. We have Horror Collector Fiend says, Movie Canon, you inspire me to make a top movies of 2023 list. So awesome. Perfect. Definitely do that because we always want to see, what people are interested in seeing in 2023. That's always something interesting, especially to me. So that's why I did my little list and so on. So let's see here. So we're going to go and do a little quick break and we'll be right back. It's not going to be super long. So just wait for me and we'll be right back.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, everyone. We are back. Thank you for waiting, if some of you guys were. So, we're going to do a little movie trivia game for Matthew. So, Matthew's the one that will be doing this. Actually, let me double check on something here. Okay, so that's the second camera. So, that's the shot with Matthew because he's going to play this game. Okay, so here we go. So, these are going to be the rules here. All right, so we already did the top 10 movies of 2022. So, movie trivia game. So, this is what we're going to do here. There's a bunch of Funko Pops that you see in the image here, in the on the screen. There's a 8-pack Spider-Man No Way Home Funko, which I think is like $100. There's the Star Wars Force Ghosts 3-pack. There's the Michael Myers and Myers House Funko, and then there's a fourth one here. There's 4 Spider-Man No Way Home or just Spider-Man Funkos that you see there. If Matthew is able to unlock that one, then the subscriber will get to choose between one of those. But what we're trying to do here, or at least what Matthew's trying to do, is in the movie trivia game, Matthew has to win the tier that is being covered. So the first tier is going to be this 8-pack Spider-Man No Way Home. There are 4 possible questions. Matthew has to not miss any of them. So he has to get all of them. And he has 7 seconds to answer them.
Oh my god.
These questions are supposed to be kind of hard. So just so you know. But if you actually do get it, Matthew, and I understand that I made it a little hard because this Funko is $100. So if you actually get it, then I will make that a Funko Pop giveaway for a subscriber, and then we'll do the whole process that we usually do with a giveaway. People entering and all that stuff. So if you win this tier, the first one, then we'll do that. The next one is the Force Ghost Funko giveaway. And then that one, if you failed the first tier and then you're going to try to win this one. Same thing. It's going to be 4 questions. You have to win all of them. But I'll give you more seconds for that one. That one you get 15 seconds. And you can phone a friend. I don't know how that's going to work. So you may not be able to do that. But that is an option for you.
We will see.
The next tier is the Michael Myers house. So I'll ask you some questions. You have 20 seconds. So these questions are not as difficult. At least I don't think so. And then we'll do that. And then the last one, the 4th tier, is the Spider-Man Funkos. So that one you have 25 seconds. You can phone a friend for that one. So it is important that you get all of them. Okay, so do you think that you'll be ready for this, Matthew?
Sure, let's do it.
Do you think you're gonna get the first question right off the bat?
Probably not. We'll see.
All right. Well, let's see here. Okay, so movie trivia game. We're about to start now. Let's see. Let's go to this screen here. Okay, so you see Matthew there, right? So movie trivia game. Matthew's knowledge of movie trivia. This Funko that you see on the screen, the 8-pack, is currently locked. So Matthew's going to try to unlock it. Okay, so I'm going to ask him some movie trivia questions. He cannot fail any of them. There's 4. He's going to have 7 seconds to answer it. So you ready, Matthew?
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. The first question is, and you have 7 seconds to answer it. How many Ghostface killers did the Scream franchise have throughout the whole series?
9?
Oh my god.
What?
Yes, you got it.
Oh my god. Okay. Not bad.
Oh crap. Okay, so maybe these questions are not that hard then.
We'll see.
Oh crap. Okay, all right. Next question. You have 7 seconds. What was the first sports film to win an Oscar for Best Picture?
I have no idea.
Okay, all right.
What was it?
The answer would have been Rocky.
Oh, wow.
Do you have any idea about that?
Nope.
No idea. Okay. All right. So that's it, Matthew. Do you want to try another one just for fun?
Yeah, sure. I'll do the rest of them.
Okay. Well, I'll just do one of them because
Okay.
I do want to keep some of these questions moving forward. Okay. So number 3, true or false? In the 90s action film Speed, starring Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock, Annie's driver's license, which is Sandra Bullock, had been suspended for speeding. Is that true or false?
That is true.
Yes, that is true. All right. Okay. Well, you missed the last one though, so
Wow.
so you would have gotten 2 out of 3 so far. Actually, let's just do this one, the last one, just to see if you would have gotten it. What 1979 film has a spaceship named Nostromo or Nostromo?
A Space Odyssey.
No.
No. I don't know.
That would have been Alien.
Oh.
All right. So obviously you didn't get that. So yeah, sadly enough, Matthew did not unlock
Wow.
the 8-pack Spider-Man No Way Home Funko. But he can still unlock the next one, which is this one right here. The Star Wars Force Ghost 3-pack. So questions again, 4 questions I'm going to give you. You have 15 seconds. Like I said, I don't know how it's going to work, but if you want to phone a friend, we can do that. I'll pause it. I'll pause the count. You have 15 seconds for this one. Are you ready for that?
Yes.
All right, so here we go. Number 1 here, we have... What is currently the highest grossing film of all time?
Avatar.
All right, so you got that. Next one, true or false? The metal found in Wakanda is adamantium.
That's
Adamantium. False? Okay, yeah, it's vibranium. Well, shit, so there's 2 more. Jim Carrey's salary for the Grinch film was $20 million. True or false?
False.
False?
Yes.
That's incorrect. It is true.
What?
Yes,
20 million for the Grinch?
he got paid $20 million for the Grinch movie. Well, that sucks, Matthew.
Wow.
All right,
What was the
so
last question?
this one will remain locked. The last question would have been, in which Friday the 13th movie did Jason make his first appearance wearing the hockey mask?
The second one.
That is incorrect.
What? Which one? The third one?
Part 3.
Oh.
All right, so that's it. So Matthew did not unlock the Force Ghost
Wow.
Funko. All right, so let's move on to the next one then. All right, so how about this one, Matthew?
I have no idea. We'll see.
All right, so some of you guys who might have just joined, so we're doing the movie trivia game. Matthew's trying to unlock the best Funko. There's 4 tiers. Matthew already failed the first 2, so there's 2 left. So we're gonna move on here to the number 3rd tier, which is again the Michael Myers house. All right, Matthew, so you think you're gonna get this one?
Yes.
All right, so here we go. So if Matthew wins all 4 questions here, we will unlock this. Now, I did this giveaway before, but I didn't get enough entries. But this time maybe we will, if you actually win this one. Okay, so this tier includes, let's see, where was I? Okay, you get 20 seconds. Okay, so you do have 20 seconds for this one. 4 questions. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, first question. What famous actor made his film debut in A Nightmare on Elm Street?
Oh my god, are you serious? I'm not sure. I feel like I know this one, but I don't know it at the top of my head. Was his first appearance in the second one or the first one?
Just his first appearance ever.
Oh,
All right, time's up.
wow. Who was
The
it?
answer was Johnny Depp.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, Matthew. Well, sadly enough, you didn't unlock this one either. Oh, but there's still one more here.
Let's see if I unlock this one.
Okay, so now we get to this one here. Okay, so This is the 4 possible Funkos here. So for this one, if you actually unlock this tier, the subscriber will be able to choose either Doc Ock, Doctor Strange, the Spider-Man wearing the final suit of No Way Home, and that blue Spider-Man, which is a Make-A-Wish Foundation Spider-Man. So they get to choose that one. So if you unlock this from Matthew, that'll be the giveaway that I'll be able to open for the subscribers or Instagram followers. So let's move back here. So you're back here. Okay, so here's the situation with this one. So you do get 25 seconds.
Yes.
You can phone a friend.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Who played Pennywise in the 90s TV movie?
Should I phone a friend?
Who are you gonna? Okay, so I pause it right now. 10 seconds in. Who would you phone?
Jasmine?
You're gonna phone Jasmine?
I don't know.
Oh God.
Should I do it?
Well, I mean, we're live, so I don't know. I mean, you can just don't put it on speakerphone then.
Okay.
Okay, so Matthew is phoning his sister to see if he can get an answer
Wow,
here.
she didn't answer.
Oh, damn. So she didn't answer the phone. Okay, is there anyone else that you may want to call?
How about I call Horror Collector Fiend?
No, you're not going to call a correct ravine.
Let's
No.
see. How about we just skip the question?
All right, well, it looks like you didn't get it, Matthew. It's Tim Curry.
I would not have gone that.
Tim Curry. What if it was it from
That's Bill
2017?
Skarsgård, right?
Yeah. All right. The next question would have been, what is the name of the serial killer in Halloween?
Freddy Krueger? I'm just kidding. Michael Myers.
Oh my God.
The Shape.
The Shape. All right. Okay, Matthew. So you didn't get any of these, sadly enough.
Wow.
So this would have been where is it? This one, the 4 Funko, whatever the case. All right, Matthew. So you didn't unlock it, sadly enough. So let's see what we can do here. Okay, so now since Matthew did not unlock the the more expensive tiers, the where is it? The 8-pack or the Force Ghost or the Myers House. And obviously you didn't get this one either, sadly enough, like I said before. Okay, so I'll go ahead and still do this particular giveaway here. I know I was going to do at least one of them. So I'll still do this one, even though Matthew didn't unlock it. Wow. But since I can do this one right here, the one that you see on the screen, the Doc Ock, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man Blue, Make-A-Wish Foundation one. So I'll do that Funko giveaway. I'll announce it on Instagram later. I don't know if later today or maybe tomorrow. And then you guys can enter. And hopefully the plan would be to do another trivia game with maybe the group or something, and kind of like I did last time with the Spider-Man 3-pack, and do the same thing. Have the movie canon, movie council represents certain subscribers and so on, and then you can win it that way. So we'll do this particular Funko giveaway. There's a minimum of entries that I still need, obviously, but it won't be as high because it's not like a very expensive pop anyways. So make sure that you're a subscriber to this YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram. And like I said, I'll be doing more movie trivia games because they're kind of fun to do. And it kind of like goes well with the Funko giveaways too, because we get a nice little game out of it. People are more involved, and someone actually wins something. So I'll give you more details about this one right here. This is December 31st, 2022. So this is obviously the last possibly stream. of the movie canon. And thank you everyone for watching, throughout the year and so on, and for subscribing and following the page on Instagram. And there'll be more content in 2023, more giveaways, more movie reviews, a lot more live streams, because I just started doing that like over the summer and so on. So we'll be doing a lot more of those. So thank you again for watching here. Keep an eye out for that giveaway that I'll announce on Instagram either today or tomorrow. And Happy New Year, everyone, 2023. And actually, today is Ivan's birthday, a Movie Canon Movie Council member. It is his birthday today. So happy birthday to Ivan. It is his birthday. And again, thank you so much, everyone. Anything else you want to add, Matthew, before we close this stream?
Nope.
Or end it? No, that's it?
The movie Nope.
Just that you didn't win any of the tiers?
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone.